how you doing? How's it going? I was just thinking about something. I have really enjoyed watching different practice sessions, and I was trying to figure out what brought that on. And I think it was the last Olympics back in 2021. We're now less than 100 days away from the Olympics in 2024, and I can't wait. But since I went to the last Olympics, I was really just thinking about how much I love watching all athletes of any type practice. So, I live in Japan and I went to this practice session the other day. And well, I've just got to share this with you because I think it's super, super cool. Let me just go and show you right now what I'm talking about. So this was not the average practice session. Because I live in Tokyo, I want to go see a sumo practice and experience that. It was beyond my wildest dreams to see how these athletes practice. So I walk in, and right away, like with any practice session, the coach is giving, advice to all the athletes, which is kind of cool to see that. And I watched him give uh, not only advice, but even show them how they should move. And that was kind of cool to see as they are working on preparing to practice. This is like before things got going. And here he is giving the warm ups, and they're doing push ups, which, I do in the gym as I'm warming up. To see them doing that same thing was kind of cool. But, here these huge guys are going through warming up the same way I guess every athlete does. And then they go through their special practice sessions designed just for sumo wrestlers. And they start young, but they're going through up and down, low and high, and pushing. And at first, they do it without anybody there. They go through the moves with just, themselves. And it was cool to watch that. And of course, you know me, as a photographer, I've got to bring my camera in and get every moment. And I loved it. And what's so cool about a practice session in Japan to see sumo practice, if you can get in, is you get a front row seat. Like you are standing right there, you're sitting right beside the ring as they practice. And then they're running their drills, like I guess every athlete does, period. And they're going pretty fast. And at first, I was shooting just to capture the moment and freezing the moment, but I felt like if I shoot this way, people can't tell how fast they're moving. These are big guys. We all know sumo wrestlers are huge, right? But these guys are fast and they're nimble and they're flexible. And I slowed my shutter speed down to show the movement and how fast they're moving. So I wanted everybody to feel what I was feeling. And I was blown away seeing these guys being this big, moving so fast. To see it in person and to feel the energy kind of blows you away. I loved it. I hope you do too. And when you come to Japan, you must go see a sumo practice. Anybody can go. You just have to get up early. But with being a sumo wrestler, there's also this discipline. And I love seeing that. As they finish warming up, they had to actually make the ring perfect. So they're sweeping the ring after they do all their drills. And that was kind of cool to see because these brooms they use are these special Japanese brooms, which are really beautiful. They're expensive and they're everywhere. And I want one actually. And if you see how it works, you probably won't want one too. So they're sweeping everything up. All the athletes are getting involved in cleaning up and making it perfect before they start practicing together. But before they even do that, they had this little drill where they go through and they sweep in a certain pattern. That was cool to see. Then after they sweep, they go to another step of like sprinkling down the ring with water. I don't know the significance of this yet, but I will be back to shoot more practice sessions and learn more and more about a sumo practice session. Super cool to see. And then they dive into the real drills, one on one going at it. And you can feel the power because you're so close. You hear it, you see it, you feel it. And these guys are strong and they're going at it. This is an hour long practice session. And this is their life. They start at a very young age and they train and they train and they train every day, just like every other athlete. But to see how uh, flexible and nimble and fast they are kind of blew me away. I really enjoyed loved shooting this, and it was just so much fun. And I just had to share this story of my life in, and so it's just wonderful to be able to experience life there and see what it's like every single day. There's nothing as amazing as being a photographer and being able to share my life with you. I'm going to as much as I can because every single day is a great story. But I'm a photographer and I want to talk about that as well. I want to make sure I can give some tips about photographer. So let me go in and share today tips about using studio lighting and perfecting it. So for those who don't know, if this is your first time here, my name is Matthew Jordan Smith, photographer for over 35 years. I absolutely love this business. I'm also a Nikon ambassador, even though I live in Japan and fly back and forth. I'm a Nikon ambassador. So today I want to talk to you about working with studio lighting. I want to talk about it in a different way than you may have heard in the past. There's a lot of about lighting, and I'm a big lighting person. I love talking about lighting and where you can go with your fee in terms of lighting. I've done it for a long time. I specialize in doing beauty portraits and celebrities. And one thing people ask about is rate this image. I get that question a lot. And that's easy to talk about. But today I want to talk a little differently about lighting in a manner that you may not have heard before, because this part is also very important. I want to talk about the shadow aspect of lighting. That's right. We think about the light, what kind of modifier or light that we used, but very few people talk about the shadows in the image as well. And they are an integral part to you becoming a better photographer, to learn how to not just see light, but see shadow, because our eyes don't really see shadows the way the camera does. So you got to train yourself to see the shadows. So right now, I want you to look at the shadow, not so much the light that's lighting all my subjects here, but the shadows under the chin of each of my subjects. It tells you the direction of the light. Also, that background. There's light in the middle, and then it falls off into going to a deeper shadow. That gives the drama of the image. And as a photographer, you bring people into your world, and a big part of that is you creating this drama in your shots. And that's all about the shadows as well. So it's not important just to only think about light. You must think about light and shadow. Without the shadow part of this image, it's a very dull image. It's the shadows, the depth of the image that gives it the drama and pulls you in. If you want your pictures to stand out, I want you to think more about not just the light, but light and shadow. You are in control of how deep the shadows are or how subtle they are. So here, these shadows in Tyra, they're very light. So I'm filling the shadows here because I want her to stand out. And I do want you to see the shadows, but I want to be a faint shadow. So they're not as deep as you may have if it's just a light only. So there are multiple lights on this set to create a depth of the shadows being not as deep. And that part's fun to do. Also, look at this picture. Not just the light on her, but the shadows, the depth of the shadows. Even the shadow around the outer part of her face, like around her chin and her cheeks. That means that light is concentrated in the middle and then it falls away. This looks like a very simple image to do. It is not. Creating that shadow around her face to like rim her face is actually somewhat hard to do. But once you learn to dial in and look at light and look at shadow, it changes how you approach being a photographer. So today I want to make sure I leave you with that you start thinking about the shadow every time you take a picture. As a matter of fact, maybe more than looking at the light's easy to look at. Everybody does that. But very few people look and pay attention to the shadows, the depth of the shadows. Are they a full shadow? Are they filled? Is it filled fully? Is it filled by a half stop, a third stop? These all make your pictures look and feel differently. So think about this the next time you're taking pictures, or when you want to take pictures, if you've never done it before, definitely concentrate on the shadows. It makes a big difference. And once you become what I call shadow aware, you are going to stand out as a photographer. People will notice your work differently. It will have more drama, more impact, and people will stop at your images because you're pulling them in. It's like they see the shadows, but they don't see it. And then there's that concentration of light on the person who you're shooting. This is an art, a skill. No matter where AI goes or wherever, it's still going to be up to you to be skilled at making pictures look the way you want them to look every single time. And that's you learning how to play with the shadows. And then once you do, you can start adding things into the shadows like color or effects. It's not just a shadow by itself. You are in control of that shadow. So, of course, you have the light, then you have the shadow, and then if you want, you can leave it the way it is, or you can fill it with the color or anything else. It's so cool to understand the power of being a photographer and having control of not just your light, but your shadows. And working in studio with lights, that's what this is all about. You being in total control of the light. And I absolutely love talking about that. Now, if you want to learn more about photography and lighting, I've got something for you as well. I love sharing so much with you guys. This is the best for me to share my life as a photographer in Tokyo, share my life, when I'm traveling to the States. Like right now, I'm in the States actually, but I leave to go back to Japan a week from today. And I'll be sharing more about life in Japan when I get back every single week, which is kind of cool. But right now, let me share some information with you on how you can learn more about light and shadow and being a better photographer in studio, no matter what you decide to shoot, be it portraits, fashion, beauty, uh, maybe even celebrity. No matter what, I've got something for you, and I want to share that with you today because this has been my life for a long time. I love sharing everything I do. So I made this course all about lighting. It's an online course where you get 7 training modules, but there's also another component to this because I believe you need something live as well to really grow and stay up with the pace the way life is changing. So every single week, I have a live training session for all my students from where they are in the world. Everyone can come in and learn from the live training sessions. And my training is not just based on theory, it's based on my 35 years of working as a professional photographer, photographing all types of people all over the world. And I love doing this and sharing them sometimes as they happen in the moment. I love sharing the stories, talking about the lighting, about pre production, post production, and so much more, like how you can get jobs the same way. It's like I'm right there with you as you are learning to be a photographer, and that's kind of cool. Now, that's what I say, but my students say a lot as well. So I want you to hear from them, from their own mouths, what they're saying about being a photographer and learning in my course. So take it away, guys.
So, initially I thought this would be just straight up lighting, 101 on how to do lighting, and it's so much more. It's about how to really be a photographer, how to see light, not just execute it like many other people teach you how to set up the lights and do that. This is a much more profound and fundamental class.
Really want to take my photography and my business to the next level. And some of the things that I kind of had instinctually thought that maybe I should start doing, he touched on those, but then expanded upon them. And it was just like there were so many aha moments in just like that free 1 hour webinar that I was like, you know what? I need to sign up for his actual course because if I got that much out of 1 hour of a free webinar, I knew that the content of the course itself was going to have so much more. And it has, like, every single day, like, either people post things on the Facebook group and I see things, or just the actual modules or the weekly live things, weekly live sessions. There is always so much that I am having constant little aha or inspiration or just things to help push me along.
Being a part of PLC has given me the courage to do things that I was apprehensive. I think in module 1 you talked about natural light, and I was one of those people that say I like natural light. I want to go outside and shoot during the daytime, and being in PLC is giving me the strength and the courage to go in a studio. I'm shooting almost every weekend, whether it's a gig or it's a client, but I'm just getting a volume of work. So
originally, when I signed up to the course, I thought it was just going to be an online class and kind of learn as I go along, and then that'd be the end of it. But the courses have actually given me a lot more. Because of the group on Facebook. There's a lot more content that gets put in the group than I initially thought was going to be a part of the course. The live question and answer sessions that you do every week are really valuable, and again, something I totally didn't expect to get when I enrolled for the course, so really good.
You know, I've been involved with some other Facebook groups, and kind of you don't get as much interaction. But with this one, you know, you get a lot of feedback. So it's great. You know, whenever I've had plenty of questions already, and everyone's just been so friendly and willing to jump in and help. And everyone is truly willing to help. And the other great thing is the modules that you've created. I've already gone through them multiple times, and I keep going back and referring to the modules. So, you know, whenever I have a photo shoot or anything coming up, it's great to kind of have that to refer back to.
It's wonderful sharing everything I've learned throughout my career to help you become better as a photographer. And I think that once you learn how to see differently, how to think differently, how to think beyond just light or just pressing the button, you start having a lot of fun as a photographer. And that's what I love doing, sharing all I can in this course. There are students who are from all over the world in photography lighting course, and they come in every week and share, ask questions, share their work, get to grow along, and you can do the same thing as well. Once you join, you have the course for life. So you have 2 options to join, totally up to you. You decide which one is better for you, a one-time payment, or you can do it all and break it down in 12 monthly payments. Once you do that, you are a student for life. You get all the course, all the lessons every single week for included in the course. And that's the great part about it. So what are you waiting for to be a part of photography lighting course? This course is made for you. I thought about you when I made this course and made sure that I'd make it where it feels safe to be a part of it. So there's a guarantee, and the risk is all on me. So come on in, check it out. The course is made specifically for you, for wherever you are in your photography. So now let's take amazing photos, improve your skills, be the best photographer that you can be. That's why I'm here. And yes, of course, to share a lot of great stories along the way. So I'll be doing that every single week as well to make sure you have a chance to learn and understand how much fun it can be living your dream. You can use this QR code right now to sign up to be a part of photography lighting course. I call it the PLC family. Once you are in, you'll understand how special this course is. Now, I know a lot of people have questions, and maybe you have questions today about anything you saw. Maybe you had a question about the story about sumo wrestlers and what it's like being a sumo wrestler or going to a practice or how hard that is to even get in. Or maybe you have questions about being a photographer and lighting. You can ask anything you want every single week. I'm here to answer your questions and to share the joy of photography every single week. I love being here. I love taking your questions. I love finding out where you are and hearing what your struggles are. I know at the start of my career, I had a lot of struggles. And I wish there was a course like mine back in the day to help me get past those hurdles. I made that course with you in mind so you can't struggle the way I did, 38 years ago, basically 35, 38 years ago when I started my career. I want to thank you for being here and letting me share my joy of photography and a little bit of my life as well as I live in Japan and all of that. It's so much to share. Every single week, I'm coming back to give you a little bit more about the joy of photography. But right now, I want to say thank you for being here and let me share just a little bit of my life. I'm Matthew Jordan Smith, photographer, lover of photography in every which way. Super happy you are here. And I look forward to coming back here again and sharing much more with you. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care. Bye, everyone.